All right, let's dive right into a phenomenon that has absolutely dominated global headlines lately. Recently, Donald Trump has been at the center of this massive wave of public attention that, honestly, has genuinely taken the world by surprise. Whether you're looking at domestic news right here in America or monitoring international reactions all the way over in China, his name is literally everywhere. But what exactly is driving this sudden, immense surge in attention? And how is the international community actually interpreting it?
So here's the crucial question we need to ask. Why did this welcome surprise the world? Now, large political gatherings are pretty standard, right? But the sheer scale and intensity of these recent receptions have caught both domestic media and international observers completely off guard. Today, we're going to look past all the noise to understand the actual mechanics behind this surge. We're going to explore exactly what's fueling this energy on the ground, how it's transmitting across the globe, and what it all means for international geopolitics.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, America's historic welcome. Second, the viral explosion on social media. Third, the Chinese perspective. And finally, is a comeback actually possible?
Section 1. America's historic welcome. The epicenter. Now, we all know massive rallies aren't exactly a new thing for Donald Trump, but the current level of excitement and the sheer volume of attendees lately has genuinely surprised a lot of media analysts. The atmosphere on the ground is just electric. We're talking about thousands of people packed together, continuous echoing chants, a sea of waving flags, and a crowd that is fiercely, fiercely energized. It's this raw, palpable enthusiasm that analysts point to when noting that he still wields a massive, undeniable influence in American politics. You see, it's not just about the numbers anymore. It's about the intensity of that presence.
So, what's the why behind all this intense energy? Well, it's anchored in three very specific beliefs his supporters hold about his previous administration. First up, they point to a strong economy. Second, they highlight a surge in jobs. And third, they believe America held a much more powerful international image during his tenure. Understanding these three pillars is absolutely critical if we want to understand exactly what is driving thousands of energized supporters out of their homes and into these arenas.
Moving on to Section 2, viral on social media, the digital shockwave.
Because, as you know, what happens at a physical rally in 2024 definitely doesn't just stay there. It is immediately digitized, packaged, and blasted across the globe at lightning speed. We're talking millions of views. Short clips of his public appearances aren't just circulating, they're exploding across TikTok, X, and YouTube in a matter of hours. The algorithm is heavily favoring this high-energy content, pushing it far beyond just his core political base and straight into mainstream feeds worldwide. It's spreading like wildfire.
And if we look at what exactly is going viral, it's pretty fascinating. The clips getting the most traction feature these highly emotional crowds and a level of intense excitement that's just visually striking. The energy is so high that, according to reports, local authorities and event organizers have actually been forced to implement extra security arrangements just to safely manage the sheer volume and enthusiasm of the attendees. That real-world logistical challenge makes for an incredibly compelling digital content, which of course only fuels the viral loop even further.
So the crucial point here is how this translates into digital culture. Because of this massive influx of viral videos showing these overwhelming crowd reactions, the specific phrase, historic welcome, has basically become a massive trending phenomenon on the internet. It's a prime example of how grassroots enthusiasm, when it's captured on a smartphone camera and amplified by social media algorithms, can completely dictate the global digital conversation and create entirely new trending keywords.
That brings us to Section 3, the Chinese perspective, the global gaze.
So how is the rest of the world reacting to this American political phenomenon? Well, you really can't understand China's highly calculated and observant reaction without a quick look at history. In the past, U.S.-China relations have always been, well, delicate and sensitive. But during Trump's previous presidency, things escalated significantly with a highly publicized trade war and some very public diplomatic tensions. Now, in the present, with his name trending heavily again, China is back in a state of intense, renewed observation. Make no mistake, they're watching these viral videos and rallies just as closely as American voters are.
Now, the reaction inside China, it's definitely not a monolith. Our sources indicate that within Chinese news circles and on Chinese social media platforms, the views are actually sharply divided. On one side, there's a segment that views him with a level of respect as a strong leader, really appreciating his bold, uncompromising style. But on the exact opposite side, there is deep wariness and criticism of his controversial policies based on their previous experiences with his administration's trade tactics. It's a really fascinating dichotomy, admiration for strength mixed with a distinct apprehension about policy. And here is why this actually matters to you and me. Why is China paying such close attention to U.S. domestic rallies? Experts point out that China meticulously observes American politics because the outcome directly impacts the global economy and international relations. A shift in American leadership, or even just a shift in American political momentum, can alter global supply chains, tariffs, and diplomatic alliances literally overnight. China's strategic observation is ultimately about anticipating shifts to protect their own immense stake in the global economy. It's a huge domino effect.
Which leads us to our fourth and final section, is a comeback possible? The future forecast.
We've looked at the rallies, the viral numbers, and the international scrutiny. Now for the ultimate forward-looking question. And honestly, political experts are completely divided on this. One camp of analysts points to the undeniable evidence we've covered today, the viral numbers, the massive crowds, as absolute proof of enduring strong popularity that could easily fuel a powerful political return. However, the opposing camp of experts is equally vocal. They point out that this exact same high visibility also energizes a deeply entrenched and strong opposition. We impartially report both sides here because right now the data supports both a fiercely loyal base and a fiercely motivated opposition.
But amidst all that expert division and geopolitical calculation, there is one absolute certainty agreed upon by all sides across the entire political spectrum, and it's this: wherever Donald Trump goes, headlines inevitably follow. His unmatched ability to generate news, capture global attention, and force the world to react to his movements is just a unique political phenomenon in modern history.
Which leaves us with this final thought for today. Looking at the massive crowds, the millions of digital views, and the intense international scrutiny, is this historic welcome solid proof of enduring popularity that will completely reshape the political landscape? Or is it simply a masterclass in generating temporary media hype? Keep asking questions, look at the facts, and we'll see you next time on our next Explainer.